All right, folks, what does your Pratt Pack do after a long day? I kick back and relax in the recliner, but it happens to be the recliner of this man, Father Tom Cradle. We're at his wonderful home next to the former St. Cyril Church, now part of the Holy Family Church. They combined him, of course, now Holy Family, former St. Joseph's Catholic Church, where I was baptized during the winter of 1957 with Bob and Eva Pratt. And on and off have been coming to this amazing parish ever since. Well, we're here tonight to talk about what they're going to be doing tomorrow, which is the Easter Vigil, and it'll be happening tomorrow night. Now, the Easter Vigil, for those of you who know about it, and for those of you who don't, let me fill you in. It's the first official, celebration of Jesus' resurrection. It's also the night that many of those who are coming to our church will become baptized, catechumes as they are known as. So we're going to talk about that and the significance of this amazing Mass. And because of my work schedule, meaning I've always worked Easter for decades, I always go to the Easter Vigil. Now, I'll be at St. Titus Parish tomorrow night with Father Householder and company, but they'll be celebrating here. This is a really special Mass, isn't it?
Well, yes, and it's a special Mass for a lot of reasons, Rob, because it is a remembrance of all that we are. So it goes right back to our the starting place of religion, or religion as we know today, back to our Jewish roots. And we go through readings, we go through a service of light, and then we have the service of readings, and then we have the service of baptism, and then the Easter Mass following that.
You know, the only thing that I'm noticing that's not here, where's the Rosalind's candy at for Easter? You have a couple of boxes, don't you?
You gotta look at my kitchen table.
I can only
All right.
imagine.
Yeah.
But Jim Crudden and his amazing family have been such a part of this amazing parish and this community. Started with his mother and grandmother going way, way back, and they're Beaver County's oldest candy manufacturer. Been around since 1914. They're great people. And if you want some tacos, you can go down here and see the good folks at Hank's. I love New Brighton, and guess what's already here? The Pittsburgh Catholic on the doorstep. So I hope that you all, wherever you're at, will take one of those home this Easter weekend. Bishop David Zubik, who I had on the radio just recently talking about Holy Week and the significance of it. Father Ruffalo, Tony Giordano. I was at St. John the Baptist for Maundy, Thursday, and the washing of the feet. And as we move along through Holy Saturday and Easter Sunday and Easter Monday, which is still a very important day to me, it's all about the blessing of the food and the baskets. This is the biggest week in our faith, isn't it?
It is, Rob. It is. And although everybody has their favorites, my favorite really is today, Good Friday.
It is.
We have a wonderful liturgy, and we have lots of people who come, and today we remembered the death of Christ, and had as part of the service the adoration of the cross. So it's just a beautiful time. And then we had Holy Communion, the service of the Word. Then we had the service of the cross and Holy Communion, service of communion, and went home. All that takes about an hour and 15 minutes. And I understand you were out at St. Monica's today, but
Right.
We also have a passion that we do with our high school youth, and it's always, you can hear a pin drop in church. A pin drop. And it is just moving. All high school students, and 8 of them. And they were terrific, as usual, again this year.
One of the things that you did when you came back to your hometown, you went right away to the senior high school, and you have so many young people engaged in this wonderful faith. And when I returned to this parish after being absent for years, I was with my daughter, who was then about 4 years of age, and I couldn't believe that the numbers had fallen off a little bit. And then a few years later, after you had returned, I returned, and I couldn't get a seat in the house. So whatever you're doing, God bless you, because it has been an amazing mission. But a couple of other things.
All right, go right ahead.
Hometown, Cradle Supermarket. Well, everybody knows where it's at. Cat a corner to the Corner Grill, which is a historic landmark here in this wonderful community that we call New Brighton. But down at the end of that 300th block, my grandmother lived for many years where Outlook Point, the 10th Street Bridge used to be. And I remember going to Mass at then St. Joseph. Yes, Father Reichel, God rest his soul, Father Hannon, wonderful, wonderful people and mentors. But this is what I still can't believe. It's been so many years. On Good Friday, between noon and 3, you were on the couch. I mean, you didn't move. And you went to Mass where you were there for more than a few minutes.
Yeah.
When did that change?
When did What changed?
We didn't
what?
really have the long service on Good Friday, and it became a shorter stay by just visiting, and that pretty much is up
Well,
to date.
in the old days, many churches celebrated the 3 hours so that we
Right.
remember Christ on the cross. But the liturgy really has not changed really since the Vatican Council. So that was in the early 60s, and when the liturgy moved over into the English language, a lot more people were able to understand what was going on.
Right.
And so we credit Vatican Council with those kind of changes in the church. So since the 60s, and develops until we have the services that we have today. Today and tomorrow are the only 2 days of the year there's no Mass in the church.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, today is just liturgy, the liturgy of Good Friday.
Well, it's still very special. Couple of names: Pope Francis. When I say to you Pope Francis and Pope John Paul II and Pope Benedict, those are the three most recent, especially my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about?
What do I think about? Hope.
Yep.
Yep. They especially Pope Francis just inspires in me a lot of hope for what is coming, what will be, and inspiration to lots and lots of people. And that's the hope of our church, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
That we are able to inspire others to do as we do.
I find this fascinating. Father Tom Cradle, it is Good Friday, and we're putting a wrap on it with your Pratte Pack until a couple of hours from now. We'll be back at it again on Holy Saturday at 5 a.m. on Rob Pratte Saturday on KDK. And coming up in a couple of weeks on Rob Pratte Tuesday night, the Honorable Cardinal Donald Wuerl, the former Bishop of Pittsburgh, Archbishop of Washington, now the Cardinal, of course, that we all know and love. In the new book, Something More Pastoral, his biography, written by someone you know, Ann Rogers from the Pittsburgh Catholic, along with Mike Aquilina. What do you think about when you think about Cardinal Wuerl, a hometown product like yourself? He from Pittsburgh, Mother of the Mountain, you from the former St. Joseph's Church here in New Brighton.
What do I think of with Bishop Wuerl? What do I think?
I think elegance.
Yeah, style. Or
Yeah.
Whatever.
And very passionate about this faith, and has really gone on to do some things that I think a lot of us should be awfully proud of.
Well, I think that with Bishop Wuerl, as I have a moment to reflect on, what he was here in Pittsburgh was a great intellectual who maybe didn't have all the pastoral experiences that us normal parish priests have, but he knows the law of the church, and he knows how to make the law known in the diocese in which he serves.
And one more name out of the past, very significant in my mind, because I remember when my sisters were confirmed, Cardinal Wright.
Cardinal Wright. I barely remember him, but
He was
a jolly old guy.
Yes, and a great, I think, rock solid part of our church. And here I am now on the verge of just within a year becoming 60, and I still think of him whenever I'm in your parish. I do.
He confirmed my brother years and years ago, and I remember that because Mikey answered one of the questions that he had during the service.
And when they picked your name to answer
you were
a question,
scared to death.
Absolutely. The wonderful Sisters of St. Joseph's.
Absolutely.
The Mother House in Baden, Sister Bridget, Sister Patty. Talk about them and what they meant to this community for many years at the school.
Well, Sister Bridget James taught me in 8th grade.
The best.
And she is the best.
She is.
And she's still an elegant, wonderful woman of faith. Honestly, Rob, when I reflect on my life growing up, being educated, serving, before serving in any of the parishes, my favorite year in all of my education, 29 years of schooling, was 8th grade with Sister Bridget James.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The very best. We really had an enjoyable time. We learned a lot. In those days, I was popular. We had a football team. I was the captain, though I wasn't anywhere near the best player. But we just had a good time. I had a real fun girlfriend, and all the things that
Being a kid is
kids
supposed
do.
to be
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. And Sister Bridget James was able to channel us and all that energy, because when you're in 8th grade and when you're 12 or you're 13, there is a lot of stuff flying around, sparks all over the place, and she was able to channel us to the church, to the Lord, and to the world. And I think she still does that.
By the way, what time's the vigil tomorrow?
Our vigil is at 8 p.m.
Okay, 8 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. Before I let you go, just growing up in New Brighton, and every time I drive through and I see the Brighton Hot Dog Shop, and whether it's the Halloween parade or Christmas time, or especially going into your amazing church, and I've said this to many people, and I said this to our good friend Becky, who I ushered with while I kind of came back here for a few months. They do a wonderful, wonderful job here. I said, the best place that I've ever had Maundy, Thursday service, the best place, and I've been all over Eastern Ohio, Panhandle of West Virginia, Western Pennsylvania, it's your parish. And I don't know if it's the stained glass windows, the same grain of wood on those pews that I sat in from the time I was just a small child with my 5 sisters and mother and father. But what is it about this town that makes me just love it so much, and especially your parish?
Oh,
I mean, you're a hometown product, homegrown. I mean,
New Brighton is New Brighton. I think it's a little wider than New Brighton, but it's certainly the Beaver Valley. There is just a wholesomeness, and I won't say that people in the valley are naive. They're just as wise as any people anywhere, but we're just it's a little slower here,
laid back,
and it is a pleasure serving, working, growing, knowing, and returning to my roots. There couldn't be anything nicer.
When you came here, obviously you were formerly many parishes, but St. Louis de Marillac, and according to many of my friends, it was kind of like when Babe Ruth got traded to the Yankees. We were very fortunate to have you come here. What about some memories there? You have a lot of friends there.
Wonderful friends at St. Louis. Yes, always part of my friendship is young people. And if you want to know young people in the Pittsburgh area, you have to be in the South Hills of Pittsburgh, or today as well in the North Hills and Cranberry area. But we had kids everywhere coming out.
Everywhere, the walls.
They really were just everywhere, and you can have a good impression on them and make a good impression. And they might not remember for a while, but the only thing that a priest like myself, I would hope, would want to do would be to make a mark in the life of a young person so that we can assure ourselves of a vibrant and good future.
I don't know, the Florentines, the Moldavans, the Koffel family, there's so many people that I just hope have a wonderful Easter, but I just want to thank all of them for being such a significant part of my life, and it's good to be here with you tonight.
Well, tomorrow I'll mention that to the Moldavans. They always have a big family party. In fact, Ada was at the
that's the mother. That's the one who kind of rules the roost.
And she had one of her granddaughters, Carolyn, from up at West A, here with her. And I think that maybe Carolyn came because she wanted to see our Passion play, which was fabulous, as I mentioned before. And I'll tell you, those girls,
they're the best.
They are the best.
Cindy and Lindy, and of course
Lindy's daughter, Carolyn,
brother Ed, and grew up in that household. Can I have a coconut bonbon from Rosalind's before I leave?
Here, I'll give
No, don't move.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, how about just a quick blessing to everyone out there for Easter?
Okay. To all my sisters and brothers, and in their connection to Rob Pratte, I extend to all of you the greetings of the church here in New Brighton and the Catholic Church, that you may have a holy, happy, and very loving Easter with those you know and those with whom you touch and live. We ask this blessing in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Happy Easter. God bless all of you from your Pratt Pack and Father Tom Cradle. Holy Family Easter Vigil, Saturday at 8 p.m.